This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Get real.
No.
Y'all, just stop. This is a sham.
It's finally here. Drum roll. Welcome to a very special episode of DBL. Today's show is all about the comeback. We're talking to people who struggled, defied the odds, and had amazing second acts. Our next story is a comeback that proves it takes a village no matter what your age. Doctors left Ramona Pearson to die, but thanks to a very specific group of strangers, she made it through. Before we chat with her, here is her story.
My routines were just get up, run forever, go to work, run at lunch, and then after work I'd run as well.
The year is 1984, and Ramona Pearson is a 21-year-old Marine who is in the best shape of her life. But everything changes one night in April.
Grabbed this dog that I had adopted because she liked to run with me. And as I stepped off the curb, a car had run through a red light. My left leg got caught up in the wheel well, spun me around. The bumper or something hit my throat, and my dog was caught underneath the car, and she was killed instantly. I absolutely passed out. The only thing I remember is just feeling like a grenade went off in my mouth, and looking down and just seeing my life's blood pouring out of me. When I got to the hospital, the doctor reduced my body temperature, put me in ice, and put me into a drug-induced coma.
Ramona remains in a coma for 18 months.
You get into these lighter levels of consciousness, and I started dreaming about eating. And I had dreams that my dog was starving to death, and so it motivated me. I felt this sense of urgency to wake up to feed my dog.
Ramona is a shell of her former self.
So when I woke up, I was down to 64 pounds, and I just was in miserable shape. I couldn't speak, so it was hard for people to even recognize I had come out of the coma. And then over time, they became frustrated, felt like I was probably not going to survive. And ultimately, after several months, I was put into a nursing home.
Ramona was just 22 years old when she arrived at the nursing home. To learn more about her astonishing comeback, please welcome to the show, Ramona Pearson.
Yes! Hi, everybody. I love being here with you.
We are honored.
We love that you are here. Ramona, we have to get into your story. You were 22 when you were sent to a senior home. You have to talk to us, talk to our audience about what kind of shape that you were in when you arrived.
By that time, I was probably somewhere between 68 and 72 pounds. I probably looked like E.T. just landed there. I was bald. I couldn't walk. I couldn't see. I couldn't speak. I had catastrophic injuries that were partially or not even fixed at that time. My face was still a mess. And so the seniors had to really wrap around me. And I think at that time, they kept thinking I was a 12-year-old boy because I was so thin and fragile. They had a lot of work to do.
Wow. So this is a running theme here, that something changes and becomes a catalyst for a comeback. What did the seniors there specifically think when they saw you, as you said? How did they help you recover? The seniors saved you.
Yeah, so they all stepped in. Once they heard my history from the senior citizen manager, they assessed my needs and started matching my needs with the skills in the senior citizens there. So you have former teachers, a mayor, and other kinds of folks. So many of them helped me learn, practice, especially the men. They played cuss word Scrabble with me at night.
That's awful.
to encourage me to speak again, because learning to speak again is very difficult when they rebuild your mouth and neck and throat. And I had to learn Braille. And so a lot of the seniors went to the library, ordered books on how to teach someone to read Braille. So some of the former teachers did that, and some of them had Alzheimer's. So my learning was quite repetitive at times.
Wow.
You never know where your comeback community is going to come from, and the fact that you were at the senior home for nearly 3 years and that was your community is just amazingly unexpected. But when did you realize you were making a comeback?
I had about 115 surgeries. So they put my face back together and gave me teeth. And I had to learn to use my other hand because I had been left-handed, had to learn to be right-handed, had to learn to walk. And every obstacle that came around, like, I actually do need to learn Braille so that I can organize my life and be successful again. I went to the Braille Institute, and the seniors did cookie sales to raise funds to get me a train ticket to go to LA to do that. And then I had to go get a seeing eye dog to help me get across streets because the seniors didn't know how to train me. You imagine I had PTSD and no one had experience being blind. So how do you teach a blind person to cross the street? Their solution was just stick a cane out, and if it gets hit by a car, don't cross the street. So the seniors really helped me get back on my feet. But when I started, what they really taught me was to learn how to learn. And once I had that skill, I became very hungry for re-educating myself. And that's a skill I continue to have. And as you see, technology continues to change, and being a person that can upskill themselves and continuously learn and evolve their skills can keep changing their careers. So that became a core value that I brought with me from the senior citizens.
Wow. Learn how to learn. Yeah. I mean, that's a key, y'all. That is a key. Mm-hmm. You mentioned that you were without sight for some time. How did you regain your sight back?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was blind almost 10 years and had rebuilt a career, was educated, and knew how to get around as a blind person and be successful as a blind person. But the problem I had was I feared getting my sight back. So when I was offered an exploratory or an experimental surgery to give me a new cornea, and at that time the technology was not as advanced as today, and they had to remove a hematoma from my brain, I delayed that decision. And also I didn't want to give up my seeing eye dog. And when she got sick about a year later, I opted in for the surgery so I could take care of her. Oh my gosh. And then again, I had to learn how to be a sighted person again and read and write and navigate again, as with an eye. I only have one eye.
Ramona, you are such an inspiration. You're such a warrior. It also, your whole story teaches us how vital community is. Yeah. And that also, and I think we can all learn from you, that perhaps we should all be visiting our senior homes more often. Ramona, thank you for sharing your remarkable story with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Wow. Coming up on this very special episode of DBL, a woman who uses her own traumatic experience of sexual abuse to help other young women feel empowered. She'll be here live to share her story on this special comeback edition of DBL. Next.
Childcare is about to get a lot more expensive before the end of the summer. Let's connect the dots. Let's face it, paying somebody to watch your kids is pricey. According to the Washington Post, half of all parents spend more than 20% of their household income on childcare. Now government funding that helped keep the industry afloat during the pandemic is ending. The program that is one of the last of the pandemic-era safety nets expires in September. The problem, according to experts, is the industry was already struggling before COVID. The median hourly wage for workers is $12 an hour. And as wages rise in other less demanding jobs, workers are jumping ship. So what does this mean for parents? It's very likely childcare will get even more expensive. And that is connecting the dots. Artificial intelligence is slowly taking over the drive-thru. Let's connect the dots. Whether or not you've noticed, restaurants like Wendy's to White Castle have been using small amounts of AI in their drive-thrus for years. Wendy's CEO said the slowest part of the drive-thru is the ordering station. AI is able to cut down wait times by automating orders, relieving overworked employees, and filling in the holes at short-staffed restaurants. As more and more restaurants use AI, tech experts warn employees may soon be out of a job. AI can work long hours without pay or insurance. The technology, though, has some hiccups. AI is unable to hear customers in noisy environments, like when kids are in the car or music is playing. Right now, there's not enough data to show whether customers prefer AI over human employees. But experts say by the time the data is gathered, AI may have already taken over. And that is connecting the dots.
Are you skeptical of headlines and what you see on social media? We are too. The Verify newsletter helps you distinguish between true and false information by answering your questions. It provides fast facts on trending topics, spotlights major stories, and even includes a daily fun fact for all those trivia buffs out there. Get Verify's fast facts delivered every weekday to your email inbox. Go to verifythis.com/email to check it out.
Welcome back to this special comeback episode of DBL. Our next guest understands what it's like to overcome huge hurdles in life. Dr. Nicola Mitchell is sharing her difficult life events to help young women feel valued and empowered. Here is her story.
When I was 14 years old, I was at church. My choir director raped me, and then I was raped a couple more times after by different people. And I felt that it was something wrong with me, right?
Soon after, Nicola becomes a teen mom.
So I had my first daughter 5 days after my 15th birthday, and my second daughter when I was 19.
Fast forward to 2015. Nicola is 35 years old and pregnant with a boy.
I ended up losing my son at 6.5 months pregnant. And my mom ended up passing like 2.5 weeks later.
While grieving her loss, Nicola ends up in Charleston for a commitment she had.
I went to this event. We had a book signing in a bookstore, and these girls came in, and they were just so beautiful. They were so innocent, but there were so many things that they were naive to. And I left there feeling like empty. I needed to do something. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I felt like I needed to do something. So I went back like 2 weeks later with my cousin, and it did really change my life.
Wow, to tell us about her comeback story, award-winning entrepreneur, publisher, writer, and youth leader, Dr. Nicola Mitchell joins us.
Yay!
Hi.
Doc, welcome. We are honored to have you here. Your story just resonates with me. I have a daughter, 15 years old, so the things you talk about really resonate with me. But let's get to it. Will you tell us and tell our audience what led to this visit in Charleston?
So I was invited by a book club to come and be the featured author with several other authors, and it was amazing experience when I think back at it. But at that time, I didn't even want to be there because of the recent loss of my son and my mother. And these girls, they didn't even know just basic life things. This was so new to them. They never seen a Black author in a bookstore. Wow. And I was just like, okay, and a female Black author. They were so intrigued. So I said, okay, I'm going to come back here and do something for this group of girls. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was going to do something for them. And it was just something in my gut that told me I needed to come back.
Briefly, can you just tell us about this organization? Like, what did you start and what made you go to that book signing? Because I know after losing my mother, I wouldn't want to see anybody or do anything. What pushed you there? My
sister pushed me. Yeah. She told me, you made this commitment, you're going to go. And it was a healing retreat at that. And so they were looking for me for motivation to heal them. And in turn, I ended up being healed at the end of it. And So it sparked my organization. It's called Girls Who Brunch Tour. We take girls ages 9 through 17. We give them a girls empowerment conference. We do like a red carpet event. It's like a high-end women's conference. If you can imagine that, we have activations, backdrop, DJs, photographers.
Wow.
Tatiana. We have food and just so many great things, great, powerful speakers, and just bringing them the who's who of their community, but who's who that looks like them. It's open to all demographic of girls, so it's not just for African American girls. We bring in girls basically from the sex trade, girls in group homes, girls in foster care, and we put them with girls from a better circumstance. And as of date, we service 38,000 girls worldwide.
Wow. That is amazing. I mean, there is something to, if you can see it, you can be it, and you are absolutely shepherding the ability for them to see it. It sounds like starting Girls Who Brunch was your calling, like the calling on your life. Why is it important for you to share your comeback story?
So it is really important to share it because they need to see that I've been through everything. You know, I've been raped. You know, they'll say, I was raped. Me too. My mom's gone. Me too. You know, I was beat up. Me too. Right. But I'm here. And if I have went through all those hardships, but I can still come here, I can still be poised, I can still be educated, and I can still create all my dreams, all they have to do is see it, know that somebody loves them, and then they'll believe that they can do it too.
I know.
Amazing.
Unbelievable.
Unreal.
Dr. Nicola Mitchell, thank you for joining us today to share your comeback story. And to our viewers, check out the donation page at girlswhobrunchtour.com to help raise funds for their events. Their 7th annual Tutus and Tennis Shoes fundraiser and scholarship gala is coming up, and they could use all the support. So get on there. Thanks again for joining us. You're doing the work. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Thank you.
There is nothing I like better than finding a great deal on travel. And it turns out, I'm not alone. Verify viewer Catherine emailed us to ask, is there a certain day of the week that's cheapest to buy a plane ticket? So Catherine, let's verify. Our sources are Scott's Cheap Flights, a study by cheapair.com, and Brett Snyder, president of Cranky Concierge Travel Assistance and a former airline pricing analyst. Some studies suggest Tuesday or Saturdays are the cheapest days to buy tickets, but all of our sources say they usually rely on flawed or outdated data. For example, some articles suggest that weekends are the cheapest days to buy. Snyder points out that's based on data that tracks the average amount spent on a ticket each day of the week. Families tend to buy their tickets on weekends and usually purchase less expensive tickets. Meanwhile, business travelers tend to buy their tickets during the week, and many are less price sensitive.
A lot of the business travel, premium cabin or even last minute or whatever it might be, those tend to be higher fares.
The end result is a study that has skewed data. Similar articles suggest Tuesdays offer the best deals, but our sources say that's also not the case. Scott's Cheap Flights explains on its site that this idea is a holdover from the 1990s when airlines used to upload special e-fares on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. These days, Snyder says airlines use sophisticated algorithms to consistently adjust fares based on demand, regardless of what day of the week it is.
This hasn't existed for years. I couldn't tell you the last time when those actually were out there in the market.
So we can verify, no, there is not a certain day of the week that's cheapest to buy a plane ticket. So when should you book? Cheapair.com found domestic tickets are generally cheapest 3 to 15 weeks before departure. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back. We all know about Tucker Carlson's fallout from Fox and Don Lemon's firing from CNN, but these stories got us all thinking how we've all had to come back from losing a job or being fired. So let's talk about some of our professional setbacks. I remember losing a really big job with MTV Australia and them sending me off on an airplane.
You told me it was.
And then I was unemployed for quite a bit. You know, of course, I collected unemployment for a little bit, got a job as a busser at like 30 years old, and then worked my way up to a waitress, but that was after already having a television career. What about you?
I mean, without a doubt, it was ironically how everything happens for a reason. I booked a talk show before this with Lisa Rinna and Khalees and all them.
Yep.
It was already NBC, greenlit, already signed the contract, ink was dry, more money than I'd ever seen in my life. And I was at a nightclub with my buddy, and my ex-wife texted me, like, you should check your email. I was like, that's never a good text. Post midnight, and it was just saying that it wasn't going to happen. And just like my world falling apart, I had no dates booked for stand-up, so I had to get back on the road and restart my life. And then here comes DBL, and I'm with my family. So everything works out. What about you, Joe?
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we heard amazing stories, but I think it's about the daily comeback, right? I went to LA, failed, cut ties with network famously, and it's just, you're going to fail. You have to be willing to risk the failure every day and come back the next day and do it again.
It's just hard to see it when it's happening in real time.
You have to do the work. He said, I came back tomorrow. I just remember I got too big for my britches on MSN. I hosted last night on TV, and they asked me to do another promo for it. And I'm like, well, then my manager and I were like, we need more money. And it got in this big fight, and then I lost the job. And they're like, yeah, bye. And and then I worked at the ice cream store, and it was humbling. Who was I? I didn't have any leverage, excuse you. So it wasn't that they did it wrong. I was thinking I was too big, and that was a big lesson for me to stay humble, stay humble.
But I think that's the lesson all around, because people are listening to like our stories and thinking, well, this isn't like a public thing, but everyone is the star of their own public show.
For sure.
So it might not be like the person behind, who's watching you on television, but it's your family, it's your community, and public failure doesn't feel good.
No, it does not.
But it catapults you.
It does.
It does. Okay, speaking of professional comebacks, Erica. Comeback with Erica Cobb is expanding. You have something to announce, huh, girl?
Yes, I do, Sam. I will be hosting a live podcast event. This is my armpits are sweating. It's my first ever comeback with Erica Cobb, a live podcast event. It's on June 16th. It's right here in Denver. There will be a meet and greet, drinks, food, special interview with a special guest. And I am so excited to announce that my first guest is talk show host, actress, model, activist, radio and television personality, comeback queen Claudia Jordan. She is amazing. She has had so many professional public comebacks. I'm so excited to talk to her. And our very own Al Jackson is my opening act. So it is going to be an amazing time. Get your tickets today. They are on sale now. We are so excited. We would love to see you. You can scan the QR code that is on screen right now to buy tickets and to learn more. And I just want to thank my DBL family, all of y'all. As I mentioned, this has been the biggest professional comeback of my life. And if I would have thought about the days that I was really playing games with my life, I never would have thought that all of this would be happening now. So be inspired by everyone that we spoke to today, because there is a part of your comeback, there's a part of your inspiration to be found in everyone's story, and that is the genesis of my podcast and my brand.
So proud of you, Erica. We are so excited for you. We will be right back.
You already know it's important to lather up on sunscreen, but what about clothing claiming to also help protect you from the sun's damaging ultraviolet rays? One verified viewer saw labels saying it has a UPF, or ultraviolet protection factor, and texted us to see if this means the same thing as SPF, which is used to measure sunscreen's effectiveness. So, let's verify. Is there a difference between SPF and UPF? Our sources are the Skin Cancer Foundation, the American Academy of Dermatology, and Dr. Adam Friedman, Chair of Dermatology at George Washington University School of Medicine and Health Sciences. SPF and UPF can help you determine how effective a product is at protecting you from the sun. SPF measures time, or how long sunscreen works at blocking the sun, and UPF measures how much of the sun's rays are blocked by a fabric. For example, under ideal conditions, an SPF 30 sunscreen will help keep your skin from burning 30 times longer than it would without any sunscreen. An article of clothing with a UPF of 30 means the fabric blocks around 97% of the sun's rays from reaching your skin. Our sources recommend using at least an SPF 30 sunscreen and UPF 30 clothing.
There's no one way to fully protect yourself from the sun. I think you want to take a combination approach. So that includes using sunscreen SPF 30 or higher and clothing to protect the exposed areas.
So, yes, there is a difference between SPF and UPF. All fabric has some sort of protection from the sun, even if it doesn't have a UPF rating. And in general, dark or brightly colored clothing is more effective. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Summertime means more storms for the Carolinas. We've certainly seen our share this week. Viewer Chris M. asked us, with all the storms lately, how accurate is the method of counting seconds between lightning and thunder to calculate miles for every second counted for how far away the lightning is? Our sources, WCNC meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees and the National Centers for Environmental Information. As little kids, you probably were told to count the seconds between lightning and thunder, and that's how many miles away lightning would be.
Honestly, I'm really glad you guys are doing this because it is something people get wrong all the time.
Brittany says lightning is actually closer than you think.
So it's whatever that second is, those seconds are between the lightning and thunder. You have to do the division by 5 because that's factoring in the speed of sound.
So if you count 5 seconds between a lightning strike and thunder, that means lightning is just 1 mile away, not 5.
When you're outside, anytime, if there's thunder and lightning around, you could get struck because lightning can strike about 30 miles out of the center of the storm.
Data from the National Centers for Environmental Information show over the past 5 years, 4 deaths and 12 injuries have been reported in North Carolina from lightning strikes.
Basically, if you hear thunder or see lightning, go inside, wait 30 minutes till after the last time you saw it, and you're good to go.
So we can verify that no, counting seconds between lightning and thunder to calculate the miles for every second is not accurate. Instead, you have to divide by 5 to really know how close it is. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
Welcome back. What an amazing show today, full of comeback stories, including yours, Miss Erica Cobb. Okay, we do have some comments, though. Amber says, I'm truly inspired by Ramona's story. Her story is the perfect reminder to never give up on yourself. Leslie says, so excited about Erica's live podcast events. Hopefully she'll take it outside of Colorado. Ooh. And Rhonda says, today's show has been so inspirational. All of the stories were amazing. Erica, are you going to take it outside of Colorado?
Well, let me know where you want me to be. I mean, got flights, we'll travel.
Yeah. Erica, we're so proud of you. Ow. Oh. So hot right now. So hot right now. You're lukewarm.
Okay. I'm heating up. Did you hear Al said touch Tori to cool your...
No, but we're so proud of you. We're so proud of you.
Erica, you walk the walk. You really do.
You put the work in every single day.
And you uplift all of us. DBL is new every day. Make sure that you make it to Erica's event. I just got my tickets. Woo! We'll see you next time. Bye, guys.